How you going, guys? It's been a while. YouTube tells me it's been a year since we've uploaded a video, so I thought might as well make another one since a lot has changed and I haven't done a really good job of showing you. So probably cover the Arbit factory side of things at the moment. So we have a new tyre changer, just a cheap PAP one. You can make it do the job quite well, just a little bit more effort. And then here, this beast here is it looks like a mill drill, but it's actually a tapping machine. It's got this this foot pedal here, and this, when you step on it, it changes the rotation of the chuck. So I've been using this solely just to tap brake adapters and everything. So if you've bought a brake adapter with anything with a thread in it, this machine's done it for the last 12 months. And I've got an indexing head, still brand new in box. I haven't taken it out. And then equipment wise, I think that's it. I've been building walls. You can see there's walls here now, so, and across the back too, just trying to keep the dust off everything. So we're still rolling with the welding table, AC/DC TIG, plasma cutter, 250 amp SIG weld, and then pedestal grinder, drill press, small mill, and then I got the big lathe, which is, I don't know, it does all the engine mount parts and all that stuff, so all the housings, all the pins, all the upper trailing arms and all that jazz, so that does that. So that's been not too bad. And I guess the only other real piece of new equipment is this thing. It's probably the most expensive piece, but so I've finally gone out and bought myself a 3D scanner. So this is it's a Peel 2, but it's full CAD integration, so I can scan things with this and then create work plans and everything like that, and then export it direct to Inventor and then redraw the part in Inventor. So that's quite good. I haven't utilised it anywhere near as much as I thought I would have, just mainly because I haven't had time. So 33, literally haven't touched it until this weekend, so it's probably the catalyst for this video. So pulled all the turbo gear off, it's all down here. So the billet wheel turbo, BA turbo manifold, this generic 4-inch thick intercooled. Just gonna get it running NA and see how that goes for a little while, and then if need be we'll put all the turbo gear back on later. But yeah, I've got to put it all out. I've got a clutch for it now, clutch line, I've got to do the fuel lines. Kev Rowley's going to do me the engine harness. I've got to do the tail shaft, but I've got to swap the pinion because I've got a Stagea C34 rear end in this thing. It's got the round flange with the 8 holes instead of the 4 bolt. So I'm going to swap it over with another R200 that I've got, and then run a normal R33 type rear uni, and then we'll run the billet one in the front for the T5 to get rid of the donut. Border, got a BN Sports front bar. I've got some Deuce side skirts from Monkey Warehouse. I've also got some BN Sports front guards, 35mm front guards. They're over there. My Mazda's pretty much the storage shelf like it was at the other house. So that's not been too bad. Put the interior back together. So I got to pull the dash out next weekend, but I've got all the trims, it's just not in the car. But cleaned it all up, missing the rear seat, missing the 8-pillar trim and the driver's side seat belt, but I'm going to replace this. It's just a drift bucket seat, but it's pretty flogged, it's one of those marketplace buys. So the seats are pretty trash. The seat rails, I've had to re-weld them today. Whenever old mate's part of this 33, it must have been an accident. So I'm just using the stock passenger seat, and got a stock passenger seat belt. So that's not too bad. Don't have a center console, but I wasn't too phased about that. I'm gonna fix up all the wiring under the dash. It's got an alarm. Somebody's cut the hazard and wiper switches off, so I need to redo that into some toggle switches or something. But I'll tackle that all next weekend. But yeah, I bought a lot of parts for it, but I just haven't fitted them, so I'm gonna fit them over the next break. So that'll be good. And then that, after the loom and the tail shaft, this should be pretty much running, and then I just got to tidy it all up. The Mazda, it's just being used as a storage shop, haven't done anything to it. 31, I'm still prototyping stuff. I started putting, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got the dual wheelwoods on it, so I started putting them on it, but then lost interest. Now that I was going to scan an engine cross member and draw myself a new one. It's got a tube one in it, 45mm rack forward, but it didn't stay square when I welded it, and it's not something that I'd like to build in production. Other than that, this has pretty much stayed the same. I technically have all parts for it, I just got to fit it all to it, but it's in an odd spot where it's just painful to work on. So I was waiting to finish the 33 to move this and then put the 31 out here. 32 sedan, haven't done much with it. I've bought a BN Sports sedan kit for it. That's probably about as far as we've got with it this year. I think it was like 14 weeks to get this kit, so I kind of like paid for it and then lost all motivation to continue. And then I've tried buying BC coilovers for it, but then they've been out of stock, and it's like, well, it's a problem for another year. I'll just worry about it then. Hopefully the 33 and the 31 is the easiest one, so I'm going to tackle them first. I've got to test all the wiring in it, because I bought this car as an incomplete shell and just pieced it together out of stuff that I've had lying around. So I don't know if anything works or everything works. I tried putting the front bar on today, but I realised that on the BN Sports bar it's pretty narrow here. So in this Series 1 Rio it's pretty thick, so that duct sits halfway through here, and I don't want to cut it anymore, so I was just going to make a tube one, so that's probably on the cards. New exhaust to get down to beside the trans, and then I'll just run a 3-inch all the way back. So when I switch it over to the turbo, I can just put a new dump pipe, just make a new dump pipe to the V-band to the existing exhaust, and that should be that. I suppose the other thing is that we built these stands so to get the car up 1/2 metre off the ground, so the chassis rail's like at least 600mm off the ground. It's because I want to get under the car and scan some bits of it, so I just needed it to be high to scan it. But the concrete here is like shit and thin, and it's just not economical enough to pull it all out to put a new slab in to put a hoist in, even though it's high enough for one of those short hoists. But the easiest solution is I just built these wheel boxes and got the car up into the air so I can get under it on my creeper and scan it. I'll show you one of the first items I 3D scanned and prototyped. So for a couple of years now I've done these modified caster brackets, R31 caster brackets, to run like a import style cast rod, and they're just getting very hard to find now, so I've scanned one up in my scanner and converted it to CAD. This is the one that we've drawn up off the scan, so it's all 4mm plate, which is twice as thick as the other one. Then I've got 3mm reinforcements around the hole. I put these extra holes in it because I want to do like a bash plate setup that tucks around the bottom of the rad support and then picks up these holes and picks up 2 holes in the cross member. But I'll need to scan all that to work out where it all is. This is my first prototype, and then it's off a scan. Fits in the car, no worries. The only catch is I haven't put the sway bar bit in it, but I've got a plan for how I'm going to do the sway bar. But just for the first prototype, I just ignored it because it, was more interested in getting these holes to line up. So that lines up with the factory hole, and then obviously I had to step it down in width, because see how this is roughly 100mm and this had to come down to like 70mm to be able to run like a standard width R33 cast rod. Has to be R33. R32, S13, they're just 20mm too short, so you're best off using an S14 or a 33 one. But these come up really good. It's making life much easier from concept to prototype. Usually with most of my other stuff I've had to like take dimensions, draw it up, and then usually it's 2 to 3 weeks for laser cutting, then I got to fab it, and then realise that it's wrong, then adjust the drawing, and then another 2 weeks for laser cutting. So the lead time to bring something to market is quite large, but with the scanning, you could probably bring something to the market in like 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully I'll get some more motivation with this thing, and I'll show you some more progress on the 33, and then or I'll show you some scanning. Well, that's part of the reason why the 33 is in the air. I've got to scan bits of it, so I could probably show you beginning to the end of a design phase of a part for how I do things. But anyway, until then, thanks for watching, guys. If I don't talk to you before, have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.